What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang coming to you live right here at Coach's Corner, the center of the universe on Coach's Sports Network, man. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Another installment of Rubbing and Grubbing. Rubbing is racing, grubbing is tasting. Hey, man, big shout out Wednesday night. We're getting ready to go through a whole bunch of NASCAR news. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. It's been a busy week. Heading into this all-star race. We're going to recap that race last week at Kansas, man, and what a race it was. So we're going to get right into it, y'all. If you're new to the show or if you watch, you know how I like to do it. We're going to start it out with the word of the day. Basically, if you hadn't tuned in, every time I say a word during the show tonight, you're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. As I always say, it's age appropriate. Anybody under the age of 21 can play along as well. Get an energy drink, some sweet tea, Kool-Aid, anything with some sugar on it. Every time I say the word, make sure you take a sip or a shot of your favorite beverage, man, and stay up late here and give it some hell on that Wednesday, man. But last week's word of the day, let me see, I got it covered up, it's windy out here, was win. So I'm sure talking about quite a few things. I said win quite often. If you played along, I'm sure you had a good little buzz by the end of the show. So there again, this week's word of the day is going to be, I have no idea, y'all, but whenever I say it, make sure you take a sip and play along, man. Have a little fun on a Wednesday. So getting right into it, we're going to move into that NASCAR news, man. I want to start the show out today just giving big condolences and prayers and thoughts out there to the Petty family. This marks the anniversary last week whenever Adam passed away in that race car. I actually went on my Twitter page and posted a cool video, so if you follow myself or Rubbing and Grubbing on Twitter, you can see it. It's called 3 Before February, and it's a documentary series on there in the early 2000s of NASCAR losing 4 great drivers, actually. And the safety changes that came after that, but how it kind of stalled out there in between and what should have, could have, and would have been. But I do want to send prayers and thoughts out there to the family and get that started out on the show as well. But hey, Kurt Busch comes home with the victory, man. More on that in a bit, but I tell you what, he had a hell of a car there at Kansas, and expect some more big stuff coming out of that 2311 camp, man. They've been running strong, but Kurt did finally get that win, man. Next part of news I want to talk about, this is something that's been coming up quite often in a lot of headlines, and it's salary of NASCAR drivers compared to Formula One drivers. Now look, I'm just going to touch base on this. There's an article on Lewis Hamilton's base salary, what he makes contract-wise, and then what Kyle Busch makes. Kyle Busch is in the $16 million range. Lewis Hamilton's up in the $37+ million range. At the end of the day, I'd love to see what it costs to run a Formula One schedule, international, all the sponsorship that goes into it, et cetera, compared to NASCAR. And there again, I think that NASCAR has been, close to that $20 million plus contract in its heyday. It got a little bit too big. We're kind of regrouping on the way back up. Hopefully we keep things smaller and simple to where we can start paying drivers a little more money when it gets down the road. But I want to see where Formula One is going to be also here in another 10 years and see if they do a little nosedive down in their viewership, their salary contracts, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, it is that. But the one thing I will say is in that article, it also said that a fan that goes to a Formula One race, and this came out of Miami this past weekend, they did have that Grand Prix there at Miami, which was an awesome race and an awesome show. But a hat, just a single Formula One hat, is anywhere between $80 to $150, y'all. So keep that in mind when you go buy a NASCAR hat. Nice one, $35. Just keep that in mind, man. Moving right in, man, a fan vote on the best throwback scheme there at Darlington. I didn't really touch base on this last week. They caught some heat. My guy caught some heat there, man. The 9 car got voted as the fan favorite for the best throwback scheme. Now, look, it wasn't my favorite, even though it's my favorite driver. Wasn't my favorite throwback scheme there. If you know me, you know I've been a Gordon fan my whole life. Seeing those flames on the 24 was my personal favorite. I think there were quite a few better than that. But basically, they were just talking about how the sport's most popular driver is going to win these type things and yada yada, and I mean rightfully so. That's just what it is. That's how the cookie crumbles. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's anything really to be upset about. I think every team always puts their best foot forward when it comes to throwback weekend. I mean, Trackhouse hit it on the head with their awesome throwbacks to Dale Jr., Dale Sr., and those Coca-Cola schemes. I mean, we had a lot of underfunded teams that did a lot of really neat paint schemes as well. So I don't think there was a bad one in the field. I think it's an awesome weekend to pay homage to the history, not only through the drivers, but also teams and different things that we do that way. So there again, yeah, Chase Elliott's probably going to win that quite often, no matter what kind of paint scheme he runs. But at the end of the day, that's what happens when you're the sport's most popular driver, man. So just get used to it, y'all. Do want to give a big shout out there to social media, man. If you're watching tonight and you hadn't yet, please go out, like, share, follow all our social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, man. You can find us on Facebook, but definitely make sure you go check out and subscribe to that YouTube channel. That is the bread and butter here at Coaches for Rubbing and Grubbing. The more folks that we get involved and eyes on it to subscribe, hopefully the more money we raise for our charity causes. That's what I always say, man. We're up to like 145 followers. I'd love by the end of the season to be closer to 200. That would be awesome. So if you know people out there that like NASCAR, like to talk about it, like to comment on it, like a good little NASCAR show, make sure you get them to like, share, follow right there on YouTube as well, man. And if you haven't yet, please, y'all, go out, like, share, follow, all that social media. Help spread the love, man, and give back to these charitable causes we do up here at Coach's Corner, man. So, hey, cautions and DNFs on the rise, y'all. This is something that I wanted to touch base on. It's big in the news. There have been more cautions and more, DNFs this season than there has been in a long time. We're averaging, I think, almost 3 more cautions a race, and then we're also averaging at least 4 to 5 more drivers. We're averaging around 6 drivers DNF in every race. So that is a lot more than what we've seen in years past. So it's something you definitely have to keep an eye on. I think there again it goes back to this next gen car. I think it goes back to speak volumes on how much of a handful it is for the drivers. And then a lot of those issues there again that we're still dealing with the wheel. Early in the season it was the wheel coming off. Now more or less, and what happens when you get a flat, not being able to move and yada, yada, yada. Now there's a little bit more complex things that are going into it and issues that we're having. But at the end of the day, it's a big accumulation of different things that are happening to cause these cautions. And to be honest, the racing's just more aggressive, and these guys are stringing it out there, man. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think it's a cool stat to keep an eye on. So if you haven't paid any attention to that, make sure you do, because it's on the rise, man. So, hey, Ryan Newman makes some headlines, and I had to throw this in there. I thought this was pretty neat. Up there in his part of the neck of the woods, man, he owns a ranch. We all know that Ryan Newman's been an animal activist, him and his ex-wife. They started a lot of good things, not only with dogs, but all kinds of different animals. They've been doing this. But anyways, there was an elk up there in his neck of the woods at it's rutting season for him. He was getting a little aggressive, tore a pin up, did all kinds of stuff. So Ryan Newman decided he was going to take him and bring him up to his ranch. So big shout out there to Flying Ryan on that. I think that's pretty cool, man. And, hopefully he's doing good, and I can't wait to see him compete in some of these races that he has lined up, man. I think he's back to finding the love of the sport and what he grew up loved doing, and that was racing. So there again, big shout out to Ryan Newman, man. So my favorite news that I got on the week, y'all, and it's pretty cool news. I think it was awesome of this guy to go on and say. And it comes out of Tommy Baldwin, man, NASCAR team owner. He drove there for a little bit and this and that, but it was his comments on Kyle Busch. And I can't quote it on the show, unfortunately. Basically, he was just saying he's a little bitch. I mean, if you want me to put it simple enough, he repeated that word quite a few times. I don't have enough dollars up here to do it, and I ain't been drinking enough to do it. So I'm going to throw $1 in there. But at the end of the day, like I said, Tommy Baldwin's comments on Kyle Busch, man, I couldn't have said it better myself. And it wasn't down on him as a race car driver, just down on him as a professional, what he does, the whole mishap on not pulling into pit road and the interviews that he's done this year and stuff, yada, yada. So anyways, big shout out to Tommy Baldwin there. That's pretty awesome of him to do and say, man. So next piece of big news we got coming out, y'all. New manufacturer coming into NASCAR. Pretty much, it's in the works. It's in the final stages. I think by next season we're going to see a brand new manufacturer there. I don't think it's going to be a manufacturer that's new to the sport. I think it's going to be a returning manufacturer, and if I was a betting man, I'd have to put my money on Dodge. There's been rumors swirling around that for the last couple seasons. I think they're finally going to make their headway back into the sport. Now, my biggest question in this is not necessarily what manufacturer it is, but it's what team is going to jump on board with that manufacturer to get them big dollars in this next gen car. And there's a couple out there that I think deserve the money. I think there's a couple out there, historic teams, that need a little bit of refinancing help to help rebuild their teams. But in my eyes, the one team that sticks out to me that really could use that help is going to be Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. You got a guy with Brad Keselowski, a former champion, a great race car driver. Chris Buescher there again holds his own out there. He's run really good at times in mediocre equipment, I will say, and I hate to say that. But let's get it straight, man. Roush Racing has been a staple of NASCAR for many decades, for many good drivers to come through. Many highlights of a lot of guys' career happened at Roush Fenway. So I think that if Dodge comes in, I'm not going to be upset if they do jump on board and switch manufacturers. He's been true to Ford for I don't know how many years. But at the end of the day, with the brand new car and the talent you have behind the wheel, a little bit of money can go a long way and help develop them back into their heyday of being a competitive team week in and week out and competing for those race wins, which I would absolutely love to see. So I really hope it happens. We're going to have to wait and see if it does, but there again, those are just my thoughts on it. Dodge coming back, Roush Fenway Keselowski popping over, taking a little bit of that manufacturer money, man. So we'll have to see what happens. And there's a lot that kind of comes in with that, but we'll see what happens there, man. So moving right in, hey man, we're going to get into my favorite part of the show, the checkered flag for charity. I got my swear bucket up here, man. If you're new to the show, basically every time I say a cuss word during tonight's show, I'm going to throw $1 in this bucket. And then what we also do is every single week, whatever race car wins, we donate that money in and it goes for our charitable cause. If you guys are new to the show this year, I'm doing it for a personal friend of my wife and mine. She had a daughter that's still alive, but she passed away unexpectedly. We're raising money up here at Coaches. John and Adele Henderson have been nice enough to let me use this platform to help raise some money for that family. But what we're doing is an educational fund for her. So there again, if you come up to some of the concerts, you've seen the cooler full of joy. This is how we do it on our checkered flag for charity, rubbing and grubbing. We do have a lot more cooler full of joys coming up. I've got one coming up before the end of the month. I've also got one coming up for the Kid Rock Show, which that's going to be a really big giveaway. We're doing a beach giveaway that day. So it's going to be like beach towels, a cooler full of joy, a couple beach chairs, gift certificates to spots down on Tybee. I mean, it is going to be a big one. So there again, if you have plans to come out and check out some live music here in the Sound Garden at Coaches, make sure you bring a little bit extra, man, to donate to these charitable causes, and you can bring home some really cool stuff, man. So there again, like I said, make sure you tune in for that. Come out and show your love. But hey, if you watched the race or if you didn't, the 45 car won. That's Mr. Kurt Busch. We're throwing $45 in there, man. So that brings the total up. We're almost at $1,200. So that's not bad. We're averaging right around about $100 a week. Got the cooler full of joys coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Those are always big money tickets, man, to help raise this money. But I tell you what, I say this all the time, you guys. If you ever come up here to Coaches and you see a waiter, a waitress, a bartender, John or Adele, any management, anybody in this store, and you say, hey, I want to donate for the checkered flag for charity, I want to donate to that cause. Doesn't matter if you round it up, doesn't matter if you throw $5, $1. At the end of the day, it all goes and stays local right here in the area, and it helps folks out, man. And I always say none of that is possible without the patrons, the Coaches Corner, everybody that comes up and spends their hard-earned money at a place that we all love. To me, this is probably the coolest restaurant slash bar slash sporting event slash concert headquarters there is in Savannah area, man. So honestly, if you haven't yet, make sure you come check it out. And when you do, like I said, bring a little bit of money for that checkered flag for charity. I say it all the time. Nickels, pennies, dimes, 10, 20s, 150s. Does not matter what you have to donate. Just make sure you donate something, man. You get to feel good, and it's for good causes right here all in the local area of Savannah, man. So thank you guys. Much love to everybody that's come out so far. Hopefully we're going to see a lot more folks come out throughout the year and help build this little girl a nice little educational fund for when her grandparents need to send her off to college, man. And I know her granddaddy graduated UGA. I know where she's going. Go Dogs, baby. That's what I'm talking about. But hey, big shout out to my main man, Parker Eccles, Arbor Man Tree Service. You're going to see that number scrolling across the screen all night long. This is a main sponsor of mine for rubbing and grubbing outside of John and Adele here at Coach's Corner. So like I say all the time, if you need any kind of tree service done, make sure you give Parker a call, man. He's locally owned, locally operated, insured, got you covered. If you want an estimate, if you're not sure what you need, he's going to be more than happy to come out and let you know, hey, trim this back, cut this back. Man, he does all kinds of, like I said, tree trimming, stump grinding. Man, he does everything to the T. So like I said, all the time, no job too big, too small, no tree too tall. Give Parker a call. Make sure you call Parker Eccles over there, Arbor Man Tree Service. He's going to take great care of y'all. Love you, brother. Hey, he always sponsors the Who's Hot and the Who's Not, man. And this is my second favorite part of the show. We get to break down kind of who's turning in the right direction, what I feel is really cool. And we also get to talk about either some drivers or some things that are happening that are not cool at all, and that's going to be the not list, man. But we always started out with the hot list, and I tell y'all what, man, although I hate to do this, And I told y'all he's going to stay flipped upside down until he does something cool personally, not on the racetrack, but off the racetrack. But I got to put Kyle Busch taking over that hot spot, man. If you go back and look at the equipment he's had for the last 4 or 5 races, I tell you what, he's fast. He's had some stuff and some mishaps that hadn't went his way. You know, the speeding penalty there, had another one at Dover to come back, finish strong. Had another one here this past weekend. Up and down as far as the finishes goes, but I tell you what, the guy is bringing fast equipment, and anytime you put Kyle Busch behind the wheel of a fast race car, wins happen. So make sure you take a look at the Candy Man. I mean, he's going to be running it strong. We're coming into an all-star race there at Texas. The man's been good there throughout the years as well, so it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him take home a cool $1 million. But like I said, man, without the mishaps and without some pit road stuff and, you know, getting caught up in other people's BS, at the end of the day, he's really fast. He's heating up good. Be on the lookout for Kyle Busch, man. Look, I'm going to put Kyle Larson back on the list as well at number 2. I'm telling you, he's had really fast cars there again. Hadn't quite got the finishes that I think the car shows, and a lot of it is, some of it's him. I mean, we saw him leading at Dover, spin out. Saw him get side by side at Darlington, lose control of the car, and then a mechanical failure cost him the day. Man, we saw him here this past weekend at Kansas, man, string it out, got into the wall, I don't know, 5, 6 times racing hard there. Comes home with a 2nd place finish, but at the end of the day, Kyle Larson is a beast behind the wheel of a race car, man, and as long as they keep bringing equipment like that, he's going to reel off some more wins. It's just only a matter of time. So be on the lookout there for the driver of the 5 to bring home a lot more checkers before this season's over. Hey, this is another guy coming out of the JGR camp, man, and I've talked about it for the last couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, and I think he's got a really good shot to go out here and get this $1 million coming up as well. We'll see if he makes the top 5 or not. But that's Christopher Bell in the 20 car, man. I think that after a few years behind the wheel of a Cup Series car, going through the changes that he's had to go through onto this next gen, he's showcasing what he can do as a young driver. This guy is going out and competing. There again, another really good run there at Kansas, really good run at Dover. I think he's headed in the right direction. He's winless this season. That can mark another guy that makes it into that winners category, man, and we're racking them up quick. So at the end of the day, we still got some big name guys out there without a win. We still got some guys that are running really good, but I think Christopher Bell is going to be one of the first guys to lock it in, getting a win. It's only a matter of time where, if it happens this weekend, it doesn't count towards the playoffs, but I think he will get a points pay and win eventually at some point in time during the 2022 season. So we're going to move into the who's not, man, and I got to start it out, and I hate to do it, but it's my old amigo out there, Daniel Suarez, in that 99 car. I tell you, they started the season out really hot, competing and running up there with Ross Chastain, both of those cars being on that Trackhouse team. Both of them come out of the same garage. You know they work together, they plan together. 2 totally different driving styles, 2 totally different setups on the car, I would think, for the feel. But at the end of the day, we're seeing what Ross Chastain's out there doing. A couple stage wins. I mean, launched himself up there into the points. I think Daniel Suarez needs to take the bull by the horns, man, and wrestle this thing back in over the last few weeks. Really fast race cars, really bad luck, and really just bad stuff happening to him. So I think there again, if they can get it reeled back in and kind of get that under control, he's got a good shot to maybe get a win and maybe get himself in that 16. He's outside of it right now, I'm pretty sure. But there again, he's got to be consistent. He's got to finish races. He's got to put himself inside that top 10, getting some stage points, man. So hopefully Daniel Suarez can bring it back around and get the ship righted, man. And I really like him, so I really do hope they get that 99 car headed right back in the right direction and get things turned around, man. Joey Logano, he's going to make the not list, y'all, and that's just because mediocre day at Kansas, but that ain't the real reason. 17th place finish at Kansas. Didn't even really have anything go wrong with him. Just, I don't even know what happened, man. Just didn't bring good equipment there. He got shuffled back, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's not what I'm talking about. What I want to touch base on is Joey running his mouth, continuing about the thing that happened with William Byron. You know, basically saying if he wants to keep going tit for tat, if he wants to keep swinging, I'm going to swing harder. I'm going to go bigger every time. Now, this is coming from a man who's had quite a few battles in and out of his career, not only in the Xfinity Series with Denny Hamlin, run-ins with Kyle Busch, run-ins with his own teammate Brad Keselowski, run-ins with Kevin Harvick, run-ins with all kinds of guys, right? Now, coming from a guy that I consider a veteran, because he is a veteran, all right? I mean, he's been in the sport very young. He's got a highly talented race car driver. There again, a champion. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but the one incident I'm going to bring it back to is at Kansas when it was in the playoffs, that fall race at Kansas for the cutoff the race before we head into Martinsville for the cutoff. Joey Logano some years back decided he was going to put the bumper to Matt Kenseth. Ruined his day, wrecked the race car when we all know something very similar that happened with William Byron. He was way faster than Kenseth. You got laps, man. All you had to do is buy your time to get by him. You're going to pass both these guys. No reason to retaliate if you feel like you need to, or no real reason to put the bumper to him. So at the end of the day, we're talking about a situation where he did this to Kenseth. Next week we roll into Martinsville. And I vaguely remember, no, I really do remember the whole damn thing that happened. And Matt Kenseth decided he was going to take Joey Logano slap out. If I can't run for a championship, neither are you. And he pretty much did. He cost him those championship, those playoff points, took him out of that race. He didn't qualify for the top 4. Now, after all that happened, after that old Cheddar Badger, as I like to refer to him, that's Matt Kenseth's nickname by mine, you know, from Wisconsin, you know, Badgers, yada, yada, cheese. The old Cheddar Badger got a hold of him. He didn't come out swinging. He didn't swing any harder. So I think Joey Logano likes to bump them gums a lot, but when it comes down to it, man, he doesn't like to back it up. So there again, I said it last week, I think when you do something like that, you need to own it. You need to come out and just flat out say it, yeah, I did it, I'll do it again, it's for a race win. Don't put it on him, putting you in the wall, yada, yada, just say you did it, you own it, and move on, man. So we'll see what he does, and we'll see if he wants to go tit for tat. But I think William Byron might do it to him, man. We're going to have to see. So like I said, man, old Cheddar Badger got him, and that's all I'm going to refer to as the man. Again, NASCAR tires making the not list, man, and we just got some issues still we're working out. I'm going to give NASCAR big kudos on the fact that they went back and worked with Goodyear as this season went on, doing tire tests, trying to find that right compound at certain areas, trying to find how soft to make it, how hard to make it, get that right tire wear to where the races are competitive, it lays down some rubber, etc., etc. I will say they've done some good things there, man. And they've also worked there again when we sat there and we watched at the beginning of the year, Penske, you know, did some things that they weren't supposed to do. NASCAR okayed it. So there again, I think we're working with some teams, we're getting some feedback, we're still in the learning stage of this single lug. Now, the one thing I am going to say is what happened to Eric Jones is totally unacceptable, man. That sucks. I think the penalty there again, still losing that crew chief for 4 races is too harsh. The crew members are harsh enough. You're losing a starting guy on your crew. The crew chief is pretty much the biggest component outside the driver. So when we lose them for 4 races, we lose a lot. I think it's something we got to go back, maybe take that down a little bit and stiffen it up somewhere else. Maybe some points, maybe some driver points, maybe some ownership points, maybe something like that. Nothing too crazy. But there again, we're seeing this happen a lot. And you saw a prime example of why they don't want this to happen at Kansas. That tire got away. It got hit one time, and those are low speeds, and you see how high this tire bounces. A lot of folks don't know. This isn't air. This isn't a PSI. This is a gas they're putting in it. It's nitrogen. I don't know if it's still nitrogen. I don't know if it's a mix now. But at the end of the day, they're putting gas in these tires. This isn't an air pressure tire like we're just putting straight pump air in it now, man. So when you see that tire get hit and it starts bouncing 4 or 5 feet in the air at 35, 40 miles an hour, imagine 145, 150. It's going to launch this thing 2-3 stories in the air, high enough to jump the fence, injure somebody in the stands, if not injure equipment. I mean, we saw at Daytona this year, stuff got thrown into Michael Jordan's motorhome, I mean, up there in the terrace. So there again, I think it's just something we got to look at. I get NASCAR's reasoning, but in a sport that is based off of tire changes, we do this quite often, we got to get it figured out, man. They got to come up with a better way to penalize, and they got to come up with a solution to keep them on. So we'll see what happens in the future. Moving right into that Kansas recap, man. Kurt Busch in that 45 slayed the Wizard down there in Oz country, man, and brings home that checkered. I tell you what, it was an awesome throwback scheme to Jordan. It's an awesome day period for him, man. Seeing that 45 back in victory lane, not only getting Kurt's first win of the 2022 season, that marks the 5th owner team basically that Kurt Busch has got to win for. So this guy is a jack of all trades, man. He wins everywhere he goes. So I think that's absolutely awesome. Not only that, this is the 4th different manufacturer that he's won in. I think that speaks volumes for itself. This guy has written his case. Former NASCAR champion, a lot of race wins, all kinds of different manufacturer wins, all kinds of different ownership wins, all kinds of different crew chief wins. I think this locks that man's bid for the Hall of Fame. And I really think if we're starting to big guys in, I'm pretty sure next year Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson are both going to be on the ballot. If we're already into guys that retired in the mid-2000, 2015, 2016, 17, 18, honestly, if we're getting into that era of driver, we're going to have to pump the brakes on this, man. And I talk about this all the time. We're going to have to pump the brakes, man. for sure. We're getting too many guys in. But I think Kurt Busch makes a great ballot for it. I think he's a guy that really needs to get in. Obviously, we're going to have to wait till he retires. But I tell you what, not a better feel to see that 45 in victory lane in a NASCAR Cup race. I mean, I just talked about it at the beginning of the show with the Petties losing grandson and son Adam Petty. That would have been a staple that carried that legacy and that team a long way. I think things probably would have went a little bit different for them. But they were struck with tragedy there. What a way to pay homage with Kurt Busch, and that 45 ended up in victory lane. So all you NASCAR fans out there, I don't want to hear any kind of conspiracy theory. I don't want to hear any of that, man. Kurt Busch had the fastest race car all day, led the most laps, and earned that win, man. So big shout out to Kurt out there, man, and that win in that 45 for 23-11. I think that's awesome, man. Both Kyles had a great race, man. Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson both bring their cars home inside the top 3. Larson looked like he was done, had a fast car up there, but looked like he was done. Didn't know he was going to get it on one of those late restarts. Got that lead, man, just couldn't quite hold Kurt Busch off. I mean, he was really fast. He tried. Man, I thought he had it there coming down to the winding few laps, and I really needed that for that to happen. LB needed that to happen in a different way. But I tell you what, it worked out good for him in one way. It worked out bad for us in another. But at the end of the day, man, comes home second. Great run for that 5 camp and Hendrick Motorsports there, man. Kyle Busch, I said it already, had a penalty on pit road, comes all the way back. Had probably one of the fastest cars all day. That man was passing left and right outside of Denny Hamlin, passing 78 or 80 cars on the day. Kyle Busch is one that blazed back through the field as well, man. So like I said, Kyle and Kyle, both of them you got to watch out for here coming up to Texas. We'll see if they make my top 5 moving into that race as we get on, man. Can't leave the show without giving a big shout out to Bubba Wallace, my buddy Bubba Baker's favorite driver, man. I tell you what, Bubba finally had some good luck roll his way. That man was super fast as well. One of the only cars that I saw in my eyes watching the TV that was able to pass anywhere on that racetrack, whether it was high, whether it was low, whether it was in the middle. Bubba Wallace is on a mission, man, and he probably might have had a top 7 race car, maybe even a top 5, honestly, had they not had a little mishap happen to him there again. But at the end of the day, race his way back up for a top 10 finish, man. I keep saying it. If they keep bringing good cars, I think Bubba's got the talent to get a win again. We've seen him win last year. I think he's got the talent to go out and get another one this year, man. So keep an eye out there for the 23 car. See if old Bubba Wallace can get himself back in there, man. And big congratulations to him as well. He got engaged last week or week before. So big congratulations on that, man. Huge moves. Welcome to your dick funeral, man. So, hey, points leader Chase Elliott, man, finally has a bad day, and everybody would say I'm kind of biased if I don't put it in there. Had a hell of a spin out, man. I'm talking about old buddy. He spun it pretty hard, and the front end of that car came up on that apron, man. I thought he was getting ready to roll it over. I mean, it was crazy, man. So, hell, I think he spun 4 or 5 circles and got stuck in the grass, and, I mean, that was pretty much it for him for his day. But I tell you what, for the streak that he's had running, I'm not even going to pay attention to that, man. You best look out for this man to come and win $1 million as well, because I'm telling you right now, he's super bad fast, and at the end of the day, I promise you, he's got as good a chance as any to come out and win that $1 million coming up this week at Texas, man. So make sure you keep a lookout on that 9 car as well. But hopefully he gets it steered out and rebounds moving into this week, man. So I'm going to take a sip of water, y'all. Please pause for station identification right here on Coach's Corner Sports Network, man. Woo! All right, man. Texas All-Star race. Man, they do everything bigger down in Texas, supposedly. I'm going to tell you right here, they got a crazy, 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 crazy format lined up this year for the All-Star race here in Texas. I don't know what's going to be more interesting, man, watching them qualify for the race or watching the race itself. So I'm going to break down the basics of what I know. You're going to have that All-Star Open, right? 4 guys are going to qualify for that race. 1, 2, 3 race, stage winners and the fan vote. Now, if the fan vote makes it in, it just keeps rolling down until the guy with the highest votes outside of who's already locked himself in moves on, right? So you can still go out and vote, by the way. I think it ends Friday night, so make sure you go out and vote for those guys that are left. A lot of smaller teams, man. There's still some really good drivers, I think, that can go out and win the All-Star race at Texas in that field as well. So make sure you go out and vote for that fan favorite and get them locked into that race, whether they win or not. But, all right. So this is the way it's going to go. We're going to have the Open. Those guys are going to transfer over to the All-Star race qualifying. Now, this is where it gets a little crazy, something brand new on the year, something they're doing. So 2 cars are going to be staged somewhere on pit road. I don't know if it's going to be at the beginning of the pit road, middle of pit road, not quite sure. Two cars are going to stage side by side on pit road. At the sound of an alarm or a light or whatever, boom. Both pit crews on both teams are going to do a 4-tire stop. And I don't know if it's a can of fuel. I think it's just 4 tires. They're going to do a four-tire stop. Both drivers are going to race down pit road, no speed limit. There's no nothing. They're going to haul ass as quick as they can down pit road. They're going to run a lap. And basically whatever driver makes it to that start-finish line first is going to move on to the next round of elimination qualifying. So the top 8 are going to move on to the second round. After that, the guy that comes home last in that bracketing system is going to be the guy that locks himself in for the pole. Now it gets a little bit even crazier than that. The guy that finishes second locks himself in for second, third, fourth, fifth, so on and so forth. Now I don't know how deep in the field it goes, but I know if first and second don't maintain through stage 1 and stage 2, 15th or better in the All-Star race, they don't get to start first any longer. So I don't know how all that works. You got to go on there and read it. I wasn't getting into all the details of it, but they got some stuff lined up. So the way the All-Star race is going to go after the Open, it's going to be 4 stages, 25, 25, 25 laps. Final stage is going to be 50 laps, right? Inside that 50 laps, if there is not a naturally caused caution between lap 15 and lap 25, NASCAR is going to throw a caution. So it's almost like breaking this down into a 5-stage race. But at the end of the day, you're going to have 25 laps after that final caution comes out to run what you brung, man, and go win $1 million. And I think it's going to get crazy. I think it's going to get hectic. We've seen these cars on 1.5 miles all season long. They've been spinning out. They've been losing air. They've been doing all kinds of stuff. I think right here, when $1 million on the line, you're going to have a lot of people's feelings get hurt at the end of the night. You're going to have a lot of tore up race cars, man. So there again, my comments on it. I love Texas. I think it's a cool race. But I think the All-Star race at Bristol was one of the highlights during that pandemic year. That was one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time in the sport. I ought to think about moving that All-Star race around every 3 to 5 years, man, and giving some of these other tracks 2 to 3 dates a year. I'm just saying. You heard it here first. That's just one of my opinions, man. It's what we should do, by the way. Oh, yeah, Blake Shelton doing a big concert in the middle of it. I almost forgot about that, man. I totally almost forgot about old Blake Shelton, man. That's going to be an awesome concert. So there again, NASCAR is moving back into some of this entertaining stuff that they're doing in my prime when I was a kid. They did a lot, man. So I love to see them doing more things for the fans to entertain them, especially a big name like Blake Shelton coming in and throwing a concert down there. I know he's from Texas, I'm pretty sure, Oklahoma. He's from somewhere around there, I know. But anyways, at the end of the day, 2 for 1. You get to watch a badass race and you get to see Blake Shelton concert, man. I mean, come on, man. That's awesome. And there ain't no telling who else might pop up on stage with him, man. So there's always little hidden guests, special guests. So keep a watch out, keep an eye out. Make sure y'all tune into that. That's Saturday night, Sunday night, Lawrence. Sunday night? Sunday night. Starting at, I think, 5:30 for the Open. The race starts at 8, 7:30, something around in there. Got to give Blake Shelton his time to throw that concert for the fans, man. But going to be a wild one. So moving right into my top 5. This is a hard one to pick, man. This is for $1 million. This is going to Texas. It's kind of unique from any other 1.5 miles we've been to outside of what I would say Atlanta was. It's not what it is anymore. We're bringing a full horsepower package, and I'm screaming it out to NASCAR now. If we can run this full horsepower package at an all-star race at Texas, we can run a full horsepower package at Atlanta when we go back there next year in July. I'm telling you, best idea. You want to innovate, throw some new things in. Super Speedway package in March. Full horsepower package in July at the same racetrack, man. Throw everybody for a loop. But number 1 this week for me is a guy who, I'm telling you, has a good track record at Texas. A couple years ago, that was the home of one of his only win for the season. That's going to be Kyle Busch, man. Kyle Busch is number 1 on my list this week. Like I said, I'm not a fan, not my cup of tea. I don't agree with his professionalism off the racetrack or sometimes on it. But at the end of the day, the guy can drive. And the guy said he's been hot. He took over number 1 spot. There's no reason this guy can't come into Texas, man. No, he ain't getting flipped over yet, Lawrence. No, he's got to do, I told you, he's got to do something good off the racetrack. You do a good interview, I'll flip you back over, man. I'll take the turtle off his shell. I'll put him back on, man. But at the end of the day, I am going to take him number 1. Like I said, probably one of the best race car drivers I've seen throughout my lifetime. There again, I just don't like him professionalism off the track and on it sometimes. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to take nothing away as the talent. And when it comes down to gambling, if you gamble, Kyle Busch is always going to be a good bet, man. I'm telling you right now. So I'll take him number 1. 2 for me, not hard to figure it out. It's going to be the Kyle and Kyle show, y'all. Guy that won the $1 million last year there at Texas, had one of the most dominating seasons in NASCAR history. Not the, but one of. And that's Kyle Larson, man. This guy, no matter where we go, seems to be able to put himself in the right place, right time. Now, what I will say is can he keep himself out of trouble driving it too hard? Can they keep that track position? Can he figure out a way to get it dialed in to compete with some of these other guys we've seen kind of get faster as the race goes on? So we'll just have to see if he can, but I'll take him number 2. 3 for me, my main man, Chase Elliott. Come on, guys. Y'all know I hardly ever leave him off of one of these. We've seen him join his dad as a $1 million winner as well. Did it a little bit different. Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon are the only 2 drivers ever to win the official Winston Million, as they called it back in the day. But Chase Elliott did win $1 million at the All-Star race, man. So I'd say he joined his dad as a $1 million Elliott's out there. I've seen him do it before. He was right there, I think, last year at the end of this one or 2 years ago when it was at Texas as well, man. He was right there. So I think there again, if they bring good equipment, he can run up front, keep that track position. 25 to go, man. I think the 9 can go out and drive the wheels off of it and bring home $1 million again. So I'll take him 3rd. 4 for me, I think when we talk about the All-Star race at Texas and an All-Star racing period, you talk about guys racing for $1 million. It don't matter what it is. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's family. It doesn't matter if it's friends. It doesn't matter if you got to fly home in this guy's airplane. It don't matter. It's for $1 million, man. So this guy right here, I think, is one of the most up-and-coming aggressive drivers on the circuit. And that's going to be Ross Chastain, man, the watermelon man. I know you could buy a lot of damn watermelons for $1 million. And I'm sure that he ain't got to buy none because he farms them. But I'm telling you, I'm sure that go a long way to help him out in that bank account. I know that. So, hey, look out for Ross Chastain to get aggressive in that last 25 if he's up front to go out and try to get that win, man. And I'm not going to be mad at him if we end up moving some folks and hitting some bumpers. I'm not going to be mad at nobody this weekend, man. That's what it's all about. Cold, hard cash, $1 million, man. 5 for me, this is a guy that's been on the not list, and he's not on the not list this week, but he's not really on the hot list either. And that's Denny Hamlin, man. Denny Hamlin has had a knack for Texas. He's got a few career wins there. There again, we're moving into that All-Star race. We saw the 11 have a good run, pass a lot of cars. That might be the most cars I've ever seen pass in a race in my lifetime on the lead lap, not putting guys a lap down, by the way. But I tell you what, man, he passed a lot of race cars to come in and get that finish. So I think Denny Hamlin might be kind of figuring it out a little bit. It seems like one week he heats up, next week something happens, whether it's mechanical, whether it's him, whether it's a tire, something happens. So hopefully he can start getting some consistency, warming up in these summer months. I mean, we got Pocono coming up. We got some other short tracks coming up. We got a lot of racetracks coming up that Denny's pretty good at. So I expect him to get another win coming up sometime in the future. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take him 5th on that list right here at Texas. Now, the dark horse is it's a small field, y'all. It's only going to be 24 cars. Dark horse is going to be hard to pick. I'm taking William Byron, man. I'm taking that 24. I've seen Jeff win $1 million. I'm trying to see William Byron win $1 million. I think the guys there again got awesome equipment. Had some issues last week that he never really quite rebounded to get that top 10. I think he finished outside the top 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there, maybe 15. But there again, I think the guy's got amazing talent. I think he's a young and up-and-coming driver. I think he's got really good equipment, really fast cars. Ain't no reason William Byron can't go out there and put himself in the record books. Old Willie B writing a check for $1 million, man, and cashing it in, baby. Hey. Number 2 for me is a guy that is probably one of the best high-line drivers here, and we all know Texas can be run around the wall at some point in time as well. That's going to be Tyler Reddick, man. So if he doesn't win a stage in that Open to get himself in, I voted for him. I voted for Austin Dillon. I actually cast a different – I went back and forth for a few days casting votes for both of them. Austin Dillon's coming out of that same camp. They're both, huge guys for RCR. Austin Dillon's a good supporter of us here at Rubbing and Grubbing, man. Did a little cameo for us a couple years ago for Daytona. Still got a painting I got to get to him somehow, man. But at the end of the day, look for one of those guys to lock it in. But I'll take Tyler Reddick as another dark horse pick this week coming in for that $1 million at Texas, y'all. All right, before we get into the right turn, I got to shout it out to another sponsor here on Rubbing and Grubbing, Lamars Body Shop. Man, I tell you what, it's right up there off Skidaway. Lamar's been serving the area for 35 plus years. I couldn't find a more fitting sponsor to sponsor the hard right turn. Usually it's about crazy stuff. This week we're going to tone it down a little bit. But there again, like I said, if you ever need any kind of paint work, body work, you need an estimate for those insurance companies, man, make sure you go see Lamar and his team up there at Lamar's Body Shop. They do some awesome work, man. I've had family members have their cars repaired there. Quite a few of us here at Coaches always call Lamar. He's up here all the time, supports everything that we do here on Rubbing and Grubbing, everything that we do here at Coach's Corner as well. So there again, thank you very much, Lamar. Big shout out to you, brother. I love you, man. Thank you for everything you do, man. So we're going to get right into this hard right turn. Now, like I said, this week it took me a little bit to kind of figure out something I wanted to kind of go on a rant about a little bit, or just kind of open up some minds and eyes to things. And really it's going to be silly season is the reason, y'all. And we started talking about silly season really early in the year, right? Like what guys or contracts are up, what cars are becoming available, whose seats are going to be available at the end of the year, what can we do to move on, this and that, and yada yada. So with all this being said, a couple things I'm going to run it down, and this is the scenarios, man. We know that Martin Truex's contract is up through after this year. Now, will he re-sign with Gibbs? Will he want to take a step back and kind of be done from full-time competition? He hadn't said anything about it. He hadn't really hinted at it, I don't think, in the media, but a lot of the media is putting it out there. So if he is done, the scenario that's going to move in is we all know who's moving into that car. It's going to be Ty Gibbs, right? Ty Gibbs is going to take over that car or a car here in the next 2 years, easy, guaranteed. Another part to that is Kyle Busch. Is Kyle Busch going to re-sign with Gibbs? Now, CEOs and chairmen of Toyota are pretty much saying if Kyle Busch goes anywhere else, it's a tragedy, man. I mean, you cannot let this guy get out from under Toyota. He's brought you 2 championships. He's brought you countless race wins. I know he's losing the sponsor, but come on, man. Gibbs got enough money through everything he's got his hands in to make sure that he's got a sponsor, even if you got to self-sponsor it, man. So I don't think Kyle Busch is going anywhere, which leaves quite a few little things to talk about. Eric Almirola, we know this is his final season over there in the 10 car for Stewart-Haas. Now, who is going to take over that car? If Kyle Busch is going to go anywhere and leave Gibbs, I think he's going to go to the 10. But outside that, you only got 2 developmental drivers. That's Riley Ertz, who I don't think's ready at all. I think he's a good driver. He's a cool kid. Not ready. You got Noah Gragson. I think he's paid his dues. You're seeing it this year, what kind of car driver he can be behind the wheel with experience. You're seeing a little bit of taste. He's getting some cup experience already. So I think best bet for me is Gragson. Now, here's an outlier in the kicker I think some folks don't think about. One, not only do we have a brand new manufacturer coming in and what team takes that, but what if Junior, Dale Jr. decides he's going to open up a cup team and be affiliated with Hendrick the way Penske is with Woods, the way Gibbs is with their Toyota, 2311. I mean, everybody's got a team that they're aligned with, an alignment team, right? Hendrick doesn't have that. Hendrick doesn't have that at all. They align with RCR as far as equipment goes and motors go, but I don't know how much technological and data that they share all throughout. So let's say Junior does decide to come in and open up a team affiliated with Hendrick. That's going to take Noah Gragson right out of the mix. I can't see Gragson driving for him in Xfinity and not driving for him in the Cup Series. Allgaier, I can see he's got his knack down there. He's had a shot to move up. Didn't quite work out for him the way he thought. And maybe they move them both up. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, that's an outlier. He said he has interest in it. He said, I don't know if I'll ever do it. Then with the next gen car, if he's going to do it, it's cost efficient to do it now. So we'll see what he decides to do, but those are some outliers about silly season. I want to get your guys' feelings. If I miss something, if there's another team, I think the big thing that people are going to talk about for JR Motorsports is a charter. What charter can he go buy? Who's going to have a charter that's willing to give it up? I mean, BJ McLeod, he's got a charter. I'm pretty sure that can be given up. You have to pay the cost to be the boss. You're going to have to pay to get it. But at the end of the day, there's no reason that Rick Hendrick and Junior ain't going to come together on some millions of dollars and buy a charter. And to be honest, I said this. I said, honestly, the man could probably do it with the drivers he has and equipment he's going to have without a charger and qualify for every race. Now, the outliers of that is inclement weather. If it rains, if something happens and they don't get qualifying in, you're not going to be in that race. So I see where that pays off dividends for your sponsors and this and that. So I get it. But I think definitely with a guy like JR Motorsports and Junior's last name, a name like Earnhardt wanting to get back in the sport as a team owner, nobody's going to blink an eye before they sell them a charter. NASCAR figures out a way to open up another one, the historic charter or something, who knows. But at the end of the day, I'd love to hear your comments on that, man, and see if I missed something, y'all. Make sure you watch the show, comment on that one, let me know. So, hey, man, 104.3 ESPN, Green, White, Checkered. Got to give a big shout out to Mr. PJ Zuko himself, man. He puts that show on every Sunday. You can catch PJ and myself breaking down all things NASCAR that have come out after Rubbing and Grubbing, going over the week before, talking about our picks for the race, and really just kind of breaking down some interesting NASCAR news, man. So if you haven't heard that yet, if you haven't checked it out, every Sunday, 9 to 9:30, ESPN Coastal 104.3. You can also stream the show live on their Facebook feed. So make sure you go check that out. Like I said, PJ does a great job producing that show every Sunday, 9 to 9:30, 104.3 ESPN Coastal, man. Big shout out to all those coaches' shows, man. Coach Carl DeMasi and Kyle Lawson with Who's on First Base coming up. I don't know if they did their show last night, if they're going to do it live tonight. Not quite sure, but make sure you check that out. Breaking down everything baseball for you. Coach actually has a really cool video out there on YouTube as well about Bananas baseball, the Savannah Bananas. I know you guys are nationally known. They've been on ESPN quite a few times. The owner just came out with a book. I know Carl got a copy of it. Hopefully he'll let me borrow it when he's done reading it. I'd be interested to read that one. But he does have a cool video out there on YouTube. So if you go out on YouTube and you scroll and stream some videos, make sure you type in Carl DeMasi and check out that Bananas, man. It's probably an awesome one. So there again, also every Saturday morning, Coach bringing out that Carl DeMasi Sports Report, breaking down all the goodness in sports locally, nationally. Man, the man knows his stuff. I'm telling you right now, been a staple of the community a long time. Make sure you check out Coach. He knows his stuff, man. He knows what he's talking about. Another big shout out there to Travis and Spencer on Hot Grits, man. They stream their podcast every Tuesday. You can download that and stream it live anywhere you get your podcast, man. Those guys breaking down everything in sports. They are awesome, funny. We got to come up and get together, fellas. Y'all got to come up here. We got to talk, everybody, and come up with what we're doing for a Coach's charity event this year to raise money. We did that bowling tournament. The Herb brothers have it. They boast about it. They got it. They take it every time they come up here to Coaches and know we're all going to be here. So we got to get something. Somebody's got to get that trophy out of their hands. We got to get it figured out, man. Big shout out to Michael Carter as well. I don't have the information on how he finished, but at the end of the day, I know he ran his heart out up there in that Mazda race. And like I say, truck guys, y'all looking for somebody to fill in? Call Michael Carter, man. He's going to give it a hell of a ride out there on the truck series. Now, one thing real quick before we get off, I totally skipped over our money bet, man. And our money bet this week is going to be a good one. I'm telling you right now, if you're looking for a solid guy, I'm taking Kyle Busch to win. I might take Kyle Larson to win. That's going to lock that in. One of those guys are going to be up front contending. A little bit darker horses down through the field. William Byron's looking pretty good odds again. Ross Chastain even has some pretty decent odds this for the win this week. So there again, look at those. And if you're looking a little deeper, I'm not going to go any further than Tyler Reddick. I think Tyler Reddick has a great piece of equipment. We've seen him almost come home with a win there at Texas before. A little bit different format. But I think if you're giving 25 laps for a guy to go string it out around the top, Tyler Reddick's going to be it, man. So there again, that's going to be the money line, the money bet for us, man. Me and Lawrence are still doing good. We've been losing the past couple weeks, man. We're not in the hole, but we've lost a little bit. We're still up. But we're spending a little bit of money, and I gotta get on it, man. I gotta make them pay us up, man. So we're gonna see how that works, man. But like I said, that's gonna do it for the rubbing. We're coming up with the grubbing real quick, y'all, and this is the treat. This is one of the best things they have on the Coach's menu. Doesn't matter any way you get it. If you slept on Coach's Corner Pizza, I got you, brother. If you slept on Corner Coach's Pizza, this is not a place to sleep on their pizza, man. This is some bad pizza. I'm telling you right now, we got a Supreme loaded up, bacon, mushrooms, bell peppers, banana peppers, man. Sausage, pepperonis, cheese galore, onions. This thing is loaded down. As soon as I get off, I'm getting ready to tear in a piece, man. I'm telling you right now. But thank you guys for tuning in to Rubbing and Grubbing, man. A little bit of a different layout tonight. I got a little carried away. I skipped over a couple things, man. It's hot down here today. I'm sweating, y'all. But at the end of the day, I do want to thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. Like I say, catch us live right here at Coach's Corner, the center of the universe, every Wednesday, 6 until I run out of breath or stuff to talk about. Usually I run out of stuff to talk about because I don't run out of breath. Big shout out to John and Adele Henderson for everything they do for me here on Rubbing and Grubbing, as well as everybody else in the patrons and the community. Best live music in town. Best place to catch your live sports. They got everything. If you're a lacrosse fan, man, you come in here, he gonna find lacrosse. I'm telling you right now. Cricket, oh, they got cricket. They got it all covered, y'all. Right here at Coach's Corner, the center of the universe, Thunderbolt, Georgia, man. Hope y'all have a great Wednesday night. Make sure you go out, hug your loved ones, give them a kiss. Hey, as always, y'all, till next time, and wash your hands, y'all.